Tap, tap, tap. Joe Mingrui reeled back in fear at the sight that greeted him. It was as though the person in the dressing mirror was not himself but a desiccated corpse. How could a person with such grievous wounds still be alive? He turned his head in disbelief and checked the other side. Even though he was at a distance and the lighting was poor, he could still see the penetrating wound and dark red bloodstains. This! Joe Mingrui drew a deep breath, trying hard to calm himself. He reached out to press his left chest and sensed his racing heart, exuding immense vitality. Touching his exposed skin, he felt flowing warmth beneath the slight coldness. When he squatted down and verified that his knees could bend, he stood up again, steadying himself. "What's happening?" he muttered with a frown, planning to inspect his head injury once more. He took 2 steps forward but suddenly paused. The moonlight of the sanguine moon was too dim for his inspection. A memory fragment surfaced as he turned his head to look at the grayish-white pipes and the metallic gridded lamp on the wall beside the study desk. This was the most common gas lamp of the times, its flame stable and illumination excellent. With Klein Morty's family situation, even a kerosene lamp was a dream, much less a gas lamp. Candles were far more fitting for their social standing. Yet, when Klein burned the midnight oil 4 years ago to be admitted into Coy University, his elder brother Benson insisted on creating conducive studying conditions, even at the cost of debt. Benson, literate and experienced, convinced the landlord to raise the apartment's standards by installing gas pipes to improve rental prospects. And using his job at an import-export company, he purchased a brand-new gas lamp at nearly cost price, avoiding loans entirely. As the memory faded, Joe Mingrui approached the desk, turned the pipe's valve, and twisted the gas lamp's switch. With a sputtering sound and a spark of friction, no light appeared. He twisted again, but the lamp only sputtered and stayed dark. Retracting his hand and pressing his left temple, he rummaged through his memories for the cause. Moments later, he walked toward the wall-mounted machine installation with grayish-white pipes. This was a gas meter. Spotting the exposed gears, he took a coin from his pocket, dark yellow with a bronze shimmer, engraved with a crown-wearing man on the front and a clump of wheat with a 1 on the back. This was the most basic currency of the Lone Kingdom, a copper penny worth about 3 to 4 yuan before his transmigration. Flipping the coin minted after King George III's ascension, a few times, he inserted it into the gas meter's slot. Clink, clang, the penny fell and the gears ground melodiously. Watching the meter, Joe Mingrui returned to the desk and twisted the gas lamp's switch. After some sputtering, a sharp sound. A fire plume ignited, light flooding the wall lamp and penetrating its transparent glass, blanketing the room in a warm glow. Darkness receded, and the crimson moonlight retreated out the window. Joe Mingrui felt inexplicably at ease as he quickly faced the mirror to inspect his wound. This time, he checked every detail carefully. Apart from the original blood stain, no liquid flowed from the grotesque wound. It looked perfectly bandaged, with grayish-white brain tissue slowly squirming and new flesh growing, a wound that might heal in 30 to 40 minutes or a few hours, leaving only a light scar. "The restorative effects of transmigration," he muttered, curling the right corner of his mouth. Following that, he let out a long sigh. Regardless, he was alive. Settling his mind, he pulled open a drawer, took out a tiny piece of soap, grabbed an old tattered towel, and left for the public bathroom shared by the tenants on the 2nd floor. "Yes, I should clean the bloodstains, or I'll keep looking like a crime scene," he thought. "It's fine scaring myself, but if I scare my sister Melissa tomorrow morning, it would be problematic." The corridor outside was pitch black, silhouettes barely outlined by the crimson moonlight, resembling monster eyes silently observing him. With shuddering fear, he linked his footsteps to the communal bathroom. Inside, the brighter moonlight allowed him to see clearly. Standing at a wash basin, he turned the tap's knob, and as water gushed, he recalled his landlord, Mr. Frankie, a short, thin man in a top hat, vest, and black suit who constantly monitored water usage since it was included in rent. If the water gushed too loudly, Mr. Frankie would abandon his gentlemanly demeanor, striking the door with his walking stick while shouting, "Darn thief! Wastage is shameless. I'll remember you. And mark my words, this is the most value-for-money apartment in Tingen City." Putting aside these thoughts, Joe Mingrui used the moist towel to clean the blood from his face again and again. Checking himself in the rundown mirror, he verified that only a pale face and a hideous wound remained. Relieved, he removed his linen shirt and washed away the bloodstains with soap. Then he frowned, realizing his wound was too exaggerated. There must be signs of his injury in the room. A few minutes later, after finishing his shirt, he briskly returned to his apartment with a moist towel. First wiping the bloody handprint on the desk, he used the gas lamp's illumination to check for missed spots. He quickly found a substantial amount of blood under the desk and a yellow bullet by the wall. Releasing a round with a revolver pointed at the temple. Combining the clues, Joe Mingrui guessed how Klein had died. Without rushing to verify, he carefully wiped away the blood and cleaned the scene. Taking the bullet, he returned to the desk, opened the revolver's cylinder, and poured out the rounds, 5 bullets and 1 brass cartridge shell. Indeed, he nodded, stuffing the rounds back into the cylinder. His gaze shifted to the notebook, reading the words, "Everyone will die, including me." Questions filled his mind. Where did the gun come from? Was it suicide or a faked suicide? What trouble could a humble history graduate have gotten into? Why so little blood? Was it because he transmigrated in time and gained healing benefits? Changing into another linen shirt, he sat at the chair, pondering more important matters, not Klein's experience, but the reason for his transmigration and whether he could return. His parents, relatives, best buddies, the internet, and countless delicacies, these were the reasons he longed to go back. Click, click, click. His right hand subconsciously pulled out the revolver's cylinder and slammed it back into place repeatedly. There hasn't been much difference between now and the past. I was just unlucky, but why transmigrate for no reason? Then it struck him. Bad luck, the luck enhancement ritual before dinner. The memory lit up like a flash. As a self-proclaimed keyboard politician, historian, economist, biologist, and folklorist, mocked by his best friend as only knowing a little of everything, he also dabbled in Chinese divination. Last year, he had bought a thread-bound book titled Quintessential Divination and Arcane Arts of the Qin and Han Dynasty to posture online. The vertical script was tedious, so he'd abandoned it after skimming the opening pages. Yet, after a month of bad luck, losing his phone, getting cheated by customers, making mistakes at work, he remembered the book's simple luck enhancement ritual requiring no foundation. 4 portions of staple food placed in each corner of the room, 4 counterclockwise steps forming a square while chanting 4 invocations to the immortal Lord, Sky Lord, Exalted Thirch, and Celestial Worthy of Heaven and Earth. After that, close eyes and wait 5 minutes. Since it cost nothing, he had tried it before dinner, but nothing happened then. Who would have guessed he'd transmigrate in the middle of the night? There's a distinct possibility it's due to that luck enhancement ritual. Yes, I should give it a try here tomorrow. If it's really because of that, I stand a chance of transmigrating back. Joe Mingrui stopped flicking the revolver's cylinder and sat up straight. Regardless, he had to try. He had to attempt a Hail Mary.